Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started TogetherForSharon.com in her memory. Today's guest I've known for some time, but it's really an honor to finally get to see her face to face, even if it's virtual. Something about what she does and the foundation, and I'll let her get into a little more depth, really kind of resonates with me, but means the world also. Even though I'm in Florida, everything that you do, Addie, just to me, such inspiration. And I really wanted to have you to represent the Indiana Parkinson's Foundation because, like, as we spoke, this is about awareness, but if we could just reach one person out there, and everyone listening, thanks for joining us. Please share this. But just one person in Indiana who might feel alone. I felt alone as a caregiver in Florida, and my mother did as a patient battling the disease. And that's really what today's about. So welcome to the show, and such an honor to have you. And we send our love and support to you, your family, and the whole foundation too.
Thank you, George. It's an honor to be here. I
All right.
appreciate the invitation.
Thanks. Well, maybe we could start off by if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, but what brought you to the world of Parkinson's awareness and, Parkinson's?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my name is Addie Cunningham. I was, born and raised in the Indianapolis area. So north of Indianapolis, a town called Noblesville. And so I was raised on a farm. And my dad, just a man of great faith and integrity, had the best childhood I could ever have asked for. We raised hogs, and we also did corn and soybeans and wheat. We were a hardworking family, but we love the Lord. And so it was not until I was an adult that my dad started showing some symptoms. He's always, like I said, been a farmer, and he also did a lot of hard labor. So he built pole barns and a lot of carpentry work, and a lot of just use with his dominant hand. And so that's kind of common with just that overuse of muscles, that he started a trimmer and just wasn't sure if it was just, his line of work or what. So we kind of went down a path of trying to figure out what that was. And it took many years until he found out that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. That happened in 2008. He probably had symptoms for, I would say, probably 6 years before that diagnosis. And honestly, as a family, we didn't even know what Parkinson's was. The only thing we knew, as maybe a little glimpse, is Michael J. Fox. We were big Back to the Future fans, and and some of his other shows, and so we knew his journey a little bit. But that's really the only thing that we knew about the disease. And so that kind of sent us on this journey, where God really, opened a door to a calling, really, to just provide support. And we didn't even know what we were doing, honestly, at the beginning. But we just, with open arms and hands, said, "All right, let's do this." So that's when we started the Indiana Parkinson Foundation in 2009. So we got right to work because his diagnosis was in '08. And so we initially just wanted to raise funds for life respecting research, and that's kind of where we started. So
I appreciate that, and I'm really honored that you'd share with us today. It sounds so much similar to a little to my journey with my mother because she had it for 15 years, but till the last 4, when it really started to progress, is when I took over her life in a way as a caregiver. But I knew what the word, I think it was like, I thought I heard Parkinson. I didn't know it was a disease. I didn't know it was
yeah,
Parkinson's. And then all of a sudden, like, boom, it's like the door just smashes in your head and it's time to step
yeah,
up and help. And I think it's encouraging to see individuals like yourself because, so many people kind of just get lost in the way and don't know where to turn, but you stepped up and started something incredible. And that's what, again, I'm excited to really, again, go in depth today about. Can you tell us, we mentioned a little bit about, the foundation, but maybe you could tell us little bit about the history. And while you do that,
Absolutely.
I'm going to actually share it. I just hope I can do that. So this is everyone again. We're now going to talk a little bit about the Indiana Parkinson's Foundation. But one thing, side note is I'm a big Larry Bird fan. So he's my favorite player in history. I don't know if you near French Lick. I never even heard of that before, Larry. But
Right.
and that was
Yeah.
I love your story too about I have a lot of animals, but no like pigs and
Yeah.
maybe someday after watching too much of these Kevin Costner movies, I'm gonna get 5 acres and never be seen
There you
again.
go.
I'll
Yeah.
have to call
Yeah.
you. But before
I
we do,
know.
I
That's
do want to thank
great.
you. I want to thank you. As you said earlier, it's amazing how quickly a year goes by, but I want to thank you and again your family for the support. And if everyone has time, if you go to togetherforsharon.com, click interviews, you can look a lot more on Addie, her background, and a lot of the incredible things that they're doing. Here you can see how to reach her too. And then this is what, if I had the drum roll machine, we would do that right now. But this is where maybe you could kind of take over and talk about the mission. And if you want, you can
Sure.
direct me. I'll click around, but if you do have a specific area, just feel free to yell it out.
Absolutely, yeah. So our mission is to come alongside those with Parkinson's and their families to provide valuable services and programs that will benefit them mentally, spiritually, and physically. And so our history, like I kind of started earlier, did start after my dad's diagnosis, and our goal was just to raise research dollars, and that was a great mission. It was meaningful. We put on many little fundraisers in our community. We made strawberry shortcakes at the county fair, and we were in the parades, and we wrote some grants, and just did little things here and there, and we found a donor that would double our donation, and so we were pretty excited about that first donation, and we found an organization in Indianapolis that was doing Parkinson's research, and so it was all good. But then the Lord really directed us in another way. My college roommate, her name's Joy Gordon. She became a physical therapist. And during this time of the start of the foundation, she was working one-on-one with my dad. And it was just really cool to see the benefits of the physical therapy and the exercise and Parkinson's. And so we had been at a Parkinson's symposium and talked to some people from Delay the Disease, that's out of Ohio. They were in town for this symposium in Indianapolis, and he was talking about his exercise classes and the benefits and all of that. And we were like, well, how do we get something like this started? And he said, well, all you really need is a physical therapist or a trainer that has the heart and passion for helping those with Parkinson's. And so my roommate was standing right there, and we're like, okay, this is crazy. And so she went to all the trainings to become LSVT big certified. She went through the PWR training. She went through the Delay the Disease training. And so with all the trainings, she combined her efforts to start what we call the Climb program. The Climb is named after the lyrics of the song The Climb. And if you were to listen to that song, you would know that those just fit perfectly with just a journey with Parkinson's, like the uphill battle, but together, we can overcome. And so my dad had heard that in the combine harvesting one fall, and he's like, that's the name of our exercise program. And so we just started locally in our church, and we had a group of about 20, and which was amazing for our first time, and it just grew and grew and grew. So we currently have 8 locations across the state of Indiana that hold our Climb program, and that's always growing. That number is always changing. And so it's just been an honor to be able to not only serve the people here, but then to be able to grow it. And since then, we've created our Climb Online program, and that's a program where it's offered online, but it is available to people that may not have a Climb in their area. So that started our endeavor in a new way, and then expand it out to our support groups that we have. And again, across the state, different groups that meet, we offer them in person and virtual as well. And we just feel very strongly about the community of hope. That's what we call our groups, because it truly is. You have to have those people in your court that are there to support you. And obviously, a family is key, but those that already are walking that road of Parkinson's, they know, they understand. And so it's a beautiful thing when we come together as a family and can just support one another. So for those groups, will bring in a lot of resources. So speakers that might deal with all kinds of different areas of therapy and home care. And I mean, it could be anything. I bring in all kinds of resources in those groups. And then since those started, we branched out to the educational events and resources. So we actually host anywhere from like 9 to 12 events throughout the state. And we'll bring in a neurologist and patient advocates and a panel of local resources. And so it's just a great event to provide, again, that support and hope for people. And then we're just here ongoing. I am a big prayer warrior, so I pray for our people across the state, those that may not even be associated with our programming at all. I just have a huge passion and heart for those with Parkinson's and supporting their families. So that in a nutshell is kind of what we do.
I love it. And I actually wanted to bring out the faith part because it's unique and it's important. We don't get into my background, but before my world of caregiving and advocacy, I'm a police officer in reserve now. I'm also an attorney and I have a PhD in criminal justice, but I did a lot of research on aiding individuals who lost their loved one due to crime. And the number one response, and one, I won't bore you with my 300-page dissertation, some of the most important things was faith and
Yeah.
community and support, obviously. But those things are so important. I myself am a professor. I've taught at schools such as, Colorado Christian University. And
Huh?
it's just interesting too how, you apply that into our learning. And I just want to point it out because I think it's very unique but important in society today. And I commend you for that. And also being not just public, but a fighter for that area because think it's definitely needed. And actually, it helps too. I'm sure the families in Indiana who need support and are looking to turn to something more than just another person. So I just found that very important to point out. But also, everything you said was amazing. So it's just hard.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, but I
No,
really,
I appreciate that. Yeah, God, I truly believe God is in the center of all that we do. And if we were to lose focus of that, then, things wouldn't go so well. And so he will always remain in the center of what we do. And it's a huge, huge thing. Just component of our that sets us apart. And I appreciate you highlighting that. So
yeah, no, and thank you. And we send our love to your dad, your family, and everybody. And they're always, because as you know, and we'll get to soon, I hope, but it's not just the
yeah.
person diagnosed, but it's the family and the community that is affected by this disease. And I just love all the programs. So everyone, please listening, share this, and also go to indianaparkinson.org, support Addie and the foundation. I think they're doing such incredible things. That's why it, took a little time, but it was so sometimes I'm aggressive on purpose because I want the world to know about how incredible you all are. And it's like part of me, I always say the only journey today that breaks my heart is the one that I'm not aware of. And when you find out about such inspiring organizations, foundations, I share your things. I don't know if you know a lot all over the country on every social media. And that's also important, everyone. I do want to try and we've shared your information before, but you can also follow the Indiana Parkinson's Foundation also. Here's this amazing person here. You might know her. But I don't know if there might be a link here, but how can everybody also follow you on social media? I know you all have presence on all of them.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's many ways to stay in contact with us. One being just our newsletter that goes out the first of every month. You can sign up on our website. It's at the bottom of the main page there, and I think it shows up on all the pages. But signing up for the newsletter is a huge way of just staying connected. We provide not only our own, information and upcoming events and programming and those types of things, but also other organizations that have events going on or things that might just be beneficial to let everyone know. So that's one way. And then our currently our Facebook page is struggling. So we will be back up, but for some reason but we are on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So those are all ways. Our newest platform is our YouTube channels. And those we have two, one for the Indiana Parkinson Foundation, and that will bring you all kinds of great information. I'm trying to think it's brand new, so I don't even know if I have it on the website. But our other one is our online climb program, and that one is on the website. And both of those channels are going to be some great information, not only for the family, caregivers. We're going to be putting out webinars that our first one will actually come out this next Monday. And every month we'll have a new webinar that will go on our IPF YouTube channel. And then we'll also always be adding exercise classes to our Climb Online program. So those are free of charge and great ways to get connected.
Thanks. Yeah, it's so important because there's so many programs out there, and that's kind of why I started Together for Sharon. There's when we were going through the battle, I couldn't find much, and then when I did, it was all over the place. So we try to offer everything for free, always for everyone,
Yes.
resources and things and interviews. And don't know if I told you, but pretty excited. This in a month, I think we're releasing one of the interview books, and it's going to be four. So each summer and I'm trying hard to offer the ebook completely free because I want it out there, and you're in one of them, so I'll keep you
Yeah.
posted. But it's pretty exciting because I wanted to share, as you know, other individual journeys and inspire people. And it's just so many incredible people out there, and that's why I keep fighting for a cure. Of course, it's too late for our family, but it's not for so many else still battling this disease. So I wanted to shift now to more about you. This is my favorite
Yeah.
show because everybody's always excited, but can you start us off by listing three words that might describe who you are?
Oh man.
That's
It's
the number
hard
one.
for
That's the number one response I've had after 70.
oh man. Well, three words. So that's challenging. So I would say I don't know how to put it in one word, but child of God. That would be my
That's
first phrase. If I could do a phrase, I guess.
this is your show.
Yeah. So that's where my identity lies. As I am a child of God. And I would say, so this is kind of going back to my childhood. Hard work ethic was pretty ingrained in me. I was modeled that. I was taught, the what that looks like and how to do that. And so I would say another one would be hard worker. I would say, and then I would also just say passionate. So I not only share a passion for those with Parkinson's and for the Lord, but also my family. So I am married to my husband Eric, who's also a police officer. So,
Family in many
and
ways.
yeah, so and we have five daughters.
Wow,
So very very busy with them, but they're awesome and such a blessing in so many ways. And so I would have to say that I'm passionate about a lot of things, but they are all great. So.
that's a
So
beautiful.
I don't know. I didn't really do well at the keeping to the
It's
words, but
okay. I love that you have five. We have three, and I can't even handle three. I mean,
yeah.
that's amazing. Now, here's another one I love. What is one moment or one most memorable moment that stands out through most of your work so far with awareness that you might be able to share?
Oh,
That's why we don't give
ooh.
these ahead of time because it's more
I
fun.
know. No, it's good. Um,
You are allowed to pass if you'd like to.
oh, I am all about it. So I guess I'll just talk about my most recent. This past Saturday, I was out at an event, and some events you just don't know if anyone's going to even come, and so I had brought one of my five daughters with me, and it was an outdoor event, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if we're even in the right event or if anyone will show up. So I told my daughter, I said, keep a tally. Let's see how many people stop by. And I had 100 people stop by my tent, and it was incredible. It's alarming actually how many have a connection with Parkinson's these days, where it was very much we don't even know what it is to now my grandpa has, and my uncle, my mother, my aunt, and so just to see us out there, it was just a beautiful thing to have those individuals stop by and just share their story with me. But then I could give them information like, hey, we're here for you, and we want to be a part of your journey. We want to be here to support you, however that looks. And so it was really inspiring for an event that I thought maybe five will stop, and then to have near 100 was pretty amazing. So,
Thanks. Yeah, you mentioned
yeah.
something that it's hard to do these shows sometimes because when you talk, I think of so many more important and incredible things that I want to talk about. But one question I never asked is, I'm a son of, mother with Parkinson's, you're a daughter.
Mhm.
Ever wonder if you might end up being diagnosed? I know most studies show we don't think it's genetic, but no one really knows. I just thought
Sure.
of the same question to myself all the time. That's why I figured it
Yeah.
out you, but you don't, again, you never have to answer any of these, but I'm just curious, like, I even thought of going down locally and getting tested, but then I wasn't sure, but just curious on your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I had someone that was in our programming, a daughter of one of the gentlemen's in our group, and she was doing some testing herself and asked if I was interested, and I declined kindly, but yeah, I have thought about it, but I'm not
Yeah,
worried about it, and I feel like now that now that I've seen these people come through the door to just show up every day to either work out or come for support or just call about a resource or whatever. It's just been so inspiring that I know that whatever is gonna happen in the future, it's all gonna be okay. And so I'm not worried about it, but it's definitely been a thought. I know that yeah, there's a genetic component probably, but you just never know.
yeah.
You just never know.
I appreciate the honesty. I've just never been
Yeah,
able to ask anyone that because that's usually just me alone and I talking to myself, but that's another
sure. Yeah,
even.
yeah.
I have
No,
another,
you're
but the next question is important personally to me. You mentioned your husband. So I try to bring out the people behind the scenes for a moment. You're like the spokeswoman, which is amazing, but
yeah,
there's times during struggle for us all. So I wonder who helps you during times of struggle. I was a caregiver like you are. What tips could
sure.
you give those caregivers who might be listening today?
Yeah. Well, I'll have to go back to my original of the faith aspect. With whether it's parenting or aging parents and Parkinson's, whatever it is, I find my complete peace and rest in Him. That doesn't mean that I don't lose my mind sometimes and I'm not handling things well, but I know where my security comes from, and so that's what really grounds me in His truth. So I would think that would be my best advice. But yes, leaning on your loved ones. And my husband's very constant, very steady, steadfast. And he, yeah, is always there. Sometimes, I can be overreactive and he'll bring me back down and so it's good to have someone there in your court, whether it's just a great friend or a husband or a child or whatever that's just coming alongside of you. I'd also say my sister, all my family members are all involved. I have two brothers and a sister, and we're all very close and very supportive of one another in this journey. We all kind of had a different journey with the Parkinson's diagnosis and all, dealt with it differently. My little brother was very, very young. My dad was diagnosed in his early 50s. So he was still in the home and had a different experience than I did living in the home with dad and seeing some of the things that I didn't. And so yeah, I would say just gathering your support system and leaning on the Lord.
Well, today dedicated to your dad and grandfather, and we'll never forget, your grandfather and what he had to go through with this disease too. And also, we send our love to your husband and the whole family, especially the five children. I
Yeah,
just,
five.
I don't want to say
Yes,
seven. Your husband will come knock on the door and arrest me if I say
that's
seven.
right. I know. I know. We do have two female dogs, so I guess
That's
there
what
is kind of seven.
Yeah, that's a lot. Imagine the farm would
Oh,
be busy today.
yeah.
Next area, here's an interesting one, or I think, is there something you might have done differently looking back, in the past 10 years in terms of awareness?
In terms of awareness, yeah, I mean, there's always room for growth and I guess you don't know what you don't know. So I know that the Lord just guided each step of the way and opened doors at just the right time and then shut other ones at just the right time. And so yeah, I mean, I have a heart to just like reach all the people and to help as many as possible, but I know that what has happened is what was supposed to happen, and so I don't have any regrets. I know that going into it, we really didn't know a whole lot of what we were doing, and so it just might have started kind of rocky, but there's just growing pains with anything, and so as we're continuing to grow and reach more people, then there's more growing pains, but it's a beautiful journey. So I don't have any regrets. I just hope to be able to reach more and more people along the way. So.
Kind of ties into the next question. It's really about how do you think we can gain more awareness for Parkinson's? Sadly, I also agree that it seems to be being brought more to national attention. Obviously, the national plan to end Parkinson's disease passed, which was I was a little sad that it's the first time in history. You'd think they would have had this, decades ago, but it is great.
Right.
I think the work starts today because it's now,
Hmm.
implementing is a different world. If we don't all continue to reach out to our representatives and tell them how important it is, it's just someone told me there was a registry bill in the state. I don't remember which
Yeah.
one passed, and it's never gone anywhere. It's just out there, and that was
Yeah.
disheartening. But anyway, I always think the best way, in my opinion, for awareness is to do what we're doing now, is joining together. You
Yep.
could tell us any tips of your opinion or views on how do we gain more awareness? And then last note, even celebrities now, I don't know if you know that Ryan Reynolds just had a whole thing about his father. Then there was another very famous actor and another, and it's just like, and then the national attention, whether or not the president has it or not, it doesn't matter. It's that at least now
Right.
it's at the fingertips and the mouths of the world, which is important. But I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on how we can really reach more people and specifically Indiana?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I do agree with what you said with just collaboration, and just being an advocate and a mouthpiece for anyone to learn more, whether like I mentioned earlier, it seems like more and more people have a connection and or will soon probably have a connection as the numbers have increased, unfortunately. And so I think just yeah, being that advocate, getting out there, doing what you're doing, George. This is incredible. And yeah, hopefully those that are in the public places will use it for good to be able to bring on a different scale awareness for the disease. And it's I know that Michael J. Fox Foundation does some amazing things. There's great places, the Davis Finney Foundation. There's so many that are doing good things. And I think just working together is part of that. We're all in it for the same mission of coming alongside those individuals with Parkinson's. And then yeah, this past, I want to say, was it this summer? I'm blanking on the timeline, but we were down at the Indianapolis courthouse and doing a rally for what you were talking about, like the registry being passed, and had the lieutenant governor out, and it was a really great event, and it had all of us local organizations there represented, and it was a beautiful picture of that community and just collaboration of awareness. And so I think you keep doing what you're doing, George. This is
Thanks.
great.
I appreciate it, and we're honored to have you. Only a few more questions. If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it? I love that.
Oh
No, I
man.
always think of changing up the question, but then everyone likes you so much that I just did.
Yeah, that's
Because everyone has such different and interesting answers. So.
oh man. I feel like I would say like the roller coaster or something.
How about the roller coaster on the farm? I like that.
Yeah, that's
I love the farm.
yeah. No, it's a fun roller coaster, but man, there's days that everything's, you're on that peak and you're like, wow, this is great. I got a good view. Things are just ticking along here with all areas of my life. And then sometimes you just plummet. So you're like, whoa, what just happened? So I probably name it a roller coaster.
I like it. Well, the strength shows that after you do the drop, you get right back up and you
That's right. That's
I
right. Don't stay
appreciate it.
down long. You gotta get back up.
And the last one today, I mean, I really enjoyed our time. I could go for 20 hours. No one would want to listen. You wouldn't want to be on
Right.
the fence. But if you could leave the Parkinson's community today with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
Oh, so much. Yeah. Well, our kind of tagline is choose to move, or it is our tagline. It's an event that we actually do, a big awareness event in the spring. It's a race, but it's so much more than that. And so I would say continue to choose to move. As everyone knows, like the exercise component with Parkinson's is huge. And so there's just so much that one can do to move, whether it is the exercise or stepping out of a comfort zone and finding a support group or making that phone call or coming on this podcast, whatever it is, choosing to move towards something that I think never giving up and just looking to the one that holds it all together. And that's our Lord. Like he is our comfort and he never leaves us. And so I think leaning into him and always choosing to move towards something, that isolation and depression is real. And if we don't choose to move, then that will just be detrimental. And so that would be my biggest advice, I guess.
I love that.
Words of
Yeah, I have this new thing I'm trying, taking the podcast on the road virtually because I can't physically get everywhere, but we're actually
yeah,
going to events. So yours sounds exciting. If you ever do in the future want me to zoom in, we can interview people and just share the actual event around the world. So it's
absolutely.
called Q&A with Sharon Son on the virtual road. So
Awesome. I
we're
love that.
doing
Yes.
with a few organizations, so it's pretty exciting because I wish like someday, I mean, my dream is that we end this disease and find a cure, but if I'm
Yep.
in a 10 years still happening and I could travel, I'd love to come to Indiana. I'd like to go to some of these amazing events live.
Yes.
So we'll see what the future brings. But I do have one last message for you and everyone listening. We love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Addie and the entire Indiana Parkinson's Foundation, will advocate for you. And together, I feel our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started because even though I'm not, every time I see, your foundation's post or we speak or somebody out there kind of feeling alone in Indiana, I'm so inspired and just so grateful for your time, your friendship, and all you do. And again, just thank you for coming on today and send our love again to your family, to everyone listening. And thanks so much again. It means the world today.
Yeah, thank you, George. This has been wonderful. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it too. And everyone, again, please go to indianaparkinson.org, support their foundation, support Addie. There's some incredible resources like exercise, like support groups, and we could spend again so much time on that. But please, again, reach out, donate, because they're doing some incredible work too, not just in Indiana, but around the world, because I see them posting and I follow them, and I'm in Florida, and you're definitely making a great impact. So again, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if there's any last minute areas you wanted me to touch on that I didn't, or how everyone actually again can reach you.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it well. I would suggest signing up for a newsletter, reaching out, either give us a call or an email. That's all on our website as well. Plug into our YouTube channels, Indiana Parkinson and Climb Online. Those are two great free resources for you, with some live webinars, opportunities, and exercise. Yeah, and we'd love, if you're in our area, we'd love to see you out at Choose to Move. It's April 26th, 2025. And our next big event is Pickleball for Parkinson's. That will be December the 7th. So we'd love to have you out at either of those events. And yeah, if there's any way that we can help, we're here for you.
It's funny you mentioned pickleball because it's such a big thing now in the nation, but it helps
Yeah.
the progression. And I actually contacted the National Association of Pickleball, trying to get them on the show to talk about it, but it's not, it's out there, it gets busy, but it's really fascinating how, we adapt to the times and the change. And even that, I never played, I'm a basketball player, but
Okay.
someday
Yeah.
I'll be stopping that because of my back surgeries, but I'll have to go to pickleball and I'll be joining you on the court.
There you go.
Well, I really
We'd love to
appreciate
have you.
well, I appreciate your time and thanks everyone for listening today. Please share this. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon and George, but the message and our talk can't end here. I'm going to hopefully share this several times a year forever because this is such an important topic. I feel awareness together is so much more of a reach and really around the world. We're family in this fight. And again, I'm so grateful for your time and thanks everyone again for listening. We love you and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.